Probably the best action franchise to come out in the last 25 years is The Fast and the Furious. While the original is still a classic, and 3 is definitely the worst, Fast 5 really stands out as being the best film in the franchise for a number of reasons. Now, the first and most obvious reason is bringing in The Rock, who plays a hard-nosed DEA agent on the trail of Dom and his crew. Now, I thought the fourth Fast and the Furious was okay, but it's clear if 5 wasn't a hit, that was pretty much going to end the franchise. 5 though, wasn't just a hit. It was extremely popular with fans and really reinvigorated the franchise, paving the way for more star-studded films. Now, as you may recall, the Fast 5 is set in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, and Dom and his crew are up against a ruthless, extremely powerful businessman. He doesn't have Bruce Lee fighting skills, but he pretty much controls the city, including the cops. In addition to him, The Rock is brought in to play a hard-nosed DEA agent responsible for apprehending Dom and his crew. He's not out for blood, but really just sees it as doing his job or duty. Now, one thing that really helped this film is the well-rounded cast of characters brought in. In the prior films, we see some of them, but now they're really all together. In later films in the franchise, they make the mistake of bringing in too many characters, and there's just not enough screen time for everyone. This is really a Goldilocks scenario, I think, where they have just the right amount, except there was two Brazilian actors in there who were definitely very forgettable. They probably could have done without those two guys, but they didn't have a ton of screen time anyways. Now, Fast 5, minus Letty, played by Michelle Rodriguez, really had the best cast, including Dom, Paul, Roman, Mila, and Han. In addition to this, we get one of the better car scenes, I thought, in the franchise. The scene where they take the safe from the bank, it's absolutely classic, and it kind of gave the franchise, I think, its identity in some ways. Up until this point, most of the chase scenes in action were somewhat believable, but the scene became pretty unrealistic, setting up some pretty ridiculous stuff in the upcoming films. For example, in 7, we saw Dom drive a car across several buildings, and they even go up in space in one of the later films, and they also battle with a sub on an iceberg, or not an iceberg, on a frozen lake in one of the other films as well. So The Rock really shined in this film, and up until this point, he wasn't the star I think we know today. He had done some awful films like The Tooth Fairy and Walking Tall, but in the years that followed, he would become the biggest action star in Hollywood, making all sorts of hits like San Andreas and even comedies with Kevin Hart. He's sort of a modern day Schwarzenegger, but a little bit more versatile, being able to do comedy and I think drama a little bit better, although some may argue that Schwarzenegger did things like Twins that were funny, and he had, he would have a lot of good one-liners. Anyhow, somewhere along the way, The Rock and Vin Diesel had a falling out, which I think really hurt the franchise. He did 6, The Rock did 6, but he skipped 7, and then of course did the spin-off Hobbs and Shaw with Jason Statham, essentially giving Vin Diesel the middle finger when he did that spin-off. It's a tough scenario here, as this is Vin Diesel's franchise, but The Rock is clearly the bigger star. Vin Diesel really hasn't done that much else. He did Triple X, if you remember. He did Boiler Room. He's done some other movies, but this is clearly his franchise at this point. Now, coming back to Fast 5, the movie really gave the formula how this franchise should proceed, and we even see it, in the last films. Ludacris is the brainy tech guy, Roman is the comedian, and of course, Dom is the leader. Characters have come and gone movie to movie, but with each movie, we see more ridiculous car chase scenes, bigger explosions, and more powerful bad guys. Often the bad guys cross over and go from trying to catch Dom and his crew to helping them. Probably the worst mistake the franchise has made, though, is bringing in John Cena as the bad guy for the later films, and even worse, allowing him to make awful jokes the entire time. In addition to this, bringing back Gal Gadot was an awful call too. The series doesn't need her horrible acting. She fell out of a plane with nothing but concrete below. Even if she did survive, why didn't she catch up? Even if she did survive, why didn't she catch up with the crew? Good luck trying to explain that. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to do. Anyhow, enough complaining about the last film, and I'm sure that the final one coming out in 2027 is going to be very... I have very little confidence it's going to end this on a positive note. Fast 5 was an excellent one and probably the best in the franchise. It's also very rewatchable too in pure entertainment. Many of these films are very rewatchable. I think the final film should have used a powerful businessman once again. Coming back to the final film, I think it should have used a powerful business guy once again, or maybe even like a politician. Have them employ mercenaries, throw in some big actors like the guy from Game of Thrones, and just have some great car scenes. That's what the franchise needs at this point. Not people coming back from the dead with little explanation and terrible John Cena jokes. Sadly, I think Cena could have been a good bad guy, but the jokes, dear God. Anyhow, that's all I got. Let me know what you think the best Fast and the Furious movie is. Thanks.